Okay, we'll go ahead and open up to your questions.
Sean, Matt Milano today in the locker room said he felt like the team lacked energy. Given what was at stake, how do you think something like that is allowed to happen?
Yeah, I just think overall, when you get into a rhythm, they got into a rhythm pretty quickly offensively, and we had a hard time getting them out of that rhythm. And then when you're on the field, and then offensively, when you're not on the field and extending drives, it can affect the energy a little bit. But I thought the guys came out with the proper amount of energy. But when they're in a rhythm offensively and you can't get off the field, that can tend to zap your energy a little bit. I thought the guys' effort was there. We didn't do enough to win.
How would you evaluate the line of scrimmage overall today?
Yeah, when you've heard me talk about this before. If you want to win games on a consistent basis, that's where the game starts. It's there, and it's at the quarterback position, and we didn't do enough. I would say overall at the line of scrimmage tonight. Give the Bengals credit, but you probably saw what I saw.
Hey, Sean, these players embrace the expectations coming into the season throughout the season, and with this kind of result, what was sort of your message to them?
Keep their head up. This is a tough league, and it's a tough business that way, and you learn from things like this. I'm proud of them, even though this hurts. Proud of them in the way they handled themselves with class this year, and the ups and downs and the adversity that they faced. And I think they'll take that with them. But for right now, this stings, and I wish it was a different result.
Coach, there seemed to be like some unsure footing due to the conditions. Did your players on defense in particular feel they had to play more conservative at times because of the unsure nature of?
Yeah, no excuses, Chris. They beat us, and give credit to them. They beat us, and they out-physicaled us.
Coach, Cincinnati has some good balance out there in the passing game and the run game. Do you feel that they had a feel for what you guys do defensively?
No. Well, listen. We had a feel for them. It wasn't a surprise in terms of after that first really drive and a half. I thought we adjusted, knew what they were doing, without getting into the details on it for you here. But we had a hard time stopping it at the same time. And the challenge with that offense is you commit to stopping the run, and then they've got three really good receivers that one-on-one are tough matchups for you. So I thought we came in with a good game plan, and we adjusted through it. And at the end of the day, it wasn't enough.
Coach, are you any concerns that the Super Bowl window might be closing after a season?
No. This is a good football team, and you learn from things like this. You keep knocking on the door. That's what you do. You stay steadfast in your focus and your approach. You work your tail off. Again, that's a good football team we just played, and they played better than we did tonight. They coached better than we did tonight, and we've got to learn from this and make the proper adjustments as we move forward. And for staying in the moment tonight, I don't want to get into the evaluations and all that type of stuff, but obviously disappointed in the result.
Sean, that Stefon is a very emotional guy. He was visibly frustrated on the sidelines, was very quick to leave tonight. Where do you think stay with him right now?
Well, he's a member of the Buffalo Bills. He's a competitive guy, and that's what makes him good is what you saw. Is he's very competitive, like we all are. We work extremely hard at these jobs to be the best we can possibly be, and it hurts. And I wouldn't want a guy that it doesn't hurt, right? So he put it all on the line out there. We put it all on the line, and tonight it wasn't good enough. And that's the part that stings.
When he came downstairs, he was like halfway out the tunnel, and I saw someone kind of bring him back in. And then I was told he left a short time late. Did you talk to him at all? Was there some issue after the game?
He was in there when I addressed the team, and that's what matters most.
Hey, Sean, what do you sense this means with Josh Allen? Just kind of how he handles this, what he has to do to kind of rebound this? Because I know he wanted to have a better day.
Yeah, we all did. And Josh, I thought, did some good things, and like we all want some plays back as well. So. Sometimes we try to do too much overall, but it's, we all have to grow from this. And, right now, just being in the moment, it stings, like I said. And Josh is a heck of a competitor, as you guys know. But I'll take him any day of the week, man, on our football team. And I love how competitive he is, and these are things you've got to learn from. We have to make the adjustments, the proper adjustments we need to make so we can move this organization and continue to move it forward, because that's the direction we're heading.
Sean, all year, if you didn't win, you still found a way to make it tight. Every loss was close. Today, that didn't seem to be the case. Does it matter at all? I mean, a loss in the last game, we know what it means, but does it matter that you went out this way where it wasn't typical of the way you guys played?
Yeah, the short answer is no, it doesn't matter. A loss is a loss, and your season ends. The longer answer, and it'll be a discussion for another day, is what happened and what we have to do to get it changed. And that's part of the adjustments that I mentioned earlier, is we've got to be able to adjust from that as a coaching staff and beyond, right? So that's what we have to do if we want to continue to knock at this door and move beyond where we were this year.
I know it's probably too soon to give a detailed response, but just your impressions of the growth of the relationship between Josh Allen and Ken Dorsey this year, first-time play caller with Josh. How did that relationship develop throughout the year, and do you think it was a productive growth process?
Well, I mean, we had two new play callers, both Ken and Matt Smiley, our special teams coordinators. So I thought, anytime you go through your first year, you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn from the highs, you're gonna learn from the lows, and it's what you do with that education as you move forward that really defines who you are as a coach and who we then become as an offense in this case, or a special teams unit with Coach Smiley. So, both of those two guys are hard workers, and I know it's important to them. And I thought in a lot of ways they did a really good job, and I'm sure they'll look back and find some ways that they want to improve as well. So.
You have a number of key players that could not be with you next year. How do you navigate those conversations in the locker room over the next few days, just knowing that some of those significant players might not be around in the future?
Yeah, well, that's the hard part of this business. I love every person in that locker room for what they went through this year and how much time they put into it. I know how important it was to everyone, and it's been I know we came up short tonight, but a total team effort, and that doesn't happen. You don't get this far without that being the case. That being said, that's a conversation for another day, and we'll see where it goes.
Sean, the season's so unprecedented in so many ways, especially concentrated towards the end of the season. So I don't know if you have a guess, I guess, to answer this question, but how do you sense the decompression is going to be for this team, given all the expectations and the hopes, and then all of the emotions that have happened here in the last 4 or 5 weeks?
Well, I mean, like I said before, you work your tail off all season long. You work in the off season every day as hard as you can to be the best that you can. And there's only one team, and we wanted it to be our team, and that's what hurts the most. And when you don't perform up to your expectations internally, that hurts. And but as a competitor, you're only really left with one choice, and that is to pull yourself together in due time and find a way to get it done. And that's what we're steadfast, and that'll be the vision as we move forward here. So the goal hasn't changed and won't change for this organization, and we got to continue to do everything we can to get there, and that's the goal.
Might it be easier with the context of all the things that happened to find a little more satisfaction quicker in this off season than in quote-unquote normal seasons, of the things that you're proud of and all the things that you did accomplish?
I'm most proud of the fact that the guys, the players, as young men, will take the lessons that they learned from this season and the adversity that they faced. I think they'll take that with them through their lives as men, and I think that's what I think that's a byproduct of the season. The goal, though, is still to make it to and win the Super Bowl. So just kind of staying in buckets here. That's what stings the most. And but the sport does teach you lessons as a person, and I think they'll take that with them for sure.
Sean, I suppose this relates to Tim's question, but Damar's presence here was an important part of the story. I know he interacted with your team in the locker room. What did that mean? What was said? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, just generally speaking, out of respect for the environment in there, you know, Damar was in the locker room pregame, and you know, his just him being in the locker room, his presence, I think was good for the guys, and also hopefully good for him. And I thought it was a pretty cool moment. The game wasn't trending the way we wanted it to, but when they put him on the big screen, and just a great moment, keeping perspective, of course, on where he was just a few weeks ago. So super happy for him, and thankful that his health is returning, and I know he'll continue to take it one day at a time.
Hey, Sean, early on in the fourth quarter, you were deep in your own zone. You decided to punt on fourth down. What went into that decision?
Yeah, just we had, without getting into strategy, had something dialed up there. They didn't give us the look that we wanted, and got called off. So on the fourth down situation, so we were going to look to be, I guess, moderately aggressive right there, but didn't also want to end the game right then and there either. Down 14, felt like still wanted to give us a chance. You know, thought we could give ourselves a chance if it didn't get called and didn't get executed, but had something dialed up there, and just didn't get the look we were looking for, and then you know, we just offensively weren't on the field long enough, getting into a rhythm. They affected the quarterback, and we didn't affect their quarterback. And I think when you look at it in simple terms, that's what the game boils down to most of the time is when you can affect the opponent's quarterback, and they can affect your quarterback. And you know, I think that's what was going on a lot tonight.
You mentioned not affecting the quarterback enough. Do you feel like you just didn't get enough, especially maybe from some of those young defensive linemen that you guys have been developing the last couple of years?
Yeah, I'm not going to point it to just one deal. You know, you can start with me if you want to look anywhere. Just start with me. But overall, you got to be able to get pressure and affect the quarterback with 4. And I didn't think we did enough tonight overall, and give them credit. And they did some good things, and then flip it over to their side. They were affecting the quarterback at times with 4. But again, that's something we're going to need to look at as we move forward here.
Sean, outside of a handful of plays a couple of weeks ago, this is the first time you've gotten a chance to go against Joe Burrow on the field. I know you've watched tape of him, I'm sure. But what did you see from him, and how good is he?
He's a good quarterback. Again, to your point, you know, first real exposure to him over a true game here, and he's smart. And he got the ball out of his hands at time, and dumped the ball down to the back out of the backfield, and checked the ball down, and kept them on schedule. I thought that was good. And there was times where he held it and got the ball down the field. So they do a good job. He's extremely smart. Does a good job staying on schedule, and you know, they've got some pretty good weapons around him with those 3 guys in the back out of the backfield. And so again, give them credit, and you know, we'll again have to continue to work on our side of things.
Sean, I know you don't like to make excuses all that often, but is there anything to just the cumulative effect of exhaustion of all the things you've gone through, getting to this moment and being somewhat drained?
Yeah, no, this is what we work for. I told you guys that. I mentioned it the last couple of weeks. I appreciate where you're coming from, that Joe, but this is what you work so hard for all season, to get into the playoffs and to make a push and get to the Super Bowl and win it. So there's no second place trophies. You do learn valuable lessons from this experience, and you put your head down and go back to work.